I'm sorry, Maria Luisa, your mic is off.
Thanks, Majo. Okay, so starting again, welcome everyone to this session. Today we have a special topic, the GRE. This is a test that sometimes you need to take for your graduate programs, okay? So hopefully if you are here, you are a student who is preparing to apply to graduate programs in the US or potentially the world. So welcome and thanks for sharing your time with us. Today we have a special guest, Sorani Marin, who is representing the ETS and the GRE. She is an English and French teacher with a master's in education and diversity. She is the TOEFL, IBT, and GRE director for Mexico, Colombia, Central America, and the Caribbean. So welcome, Sarani. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and your time with us. We're very excited to have you here. And we want to welcome also people from all over the region, hopefully. Maybe we have some people from Costa Rica, from Mexico. We have Sorani, who's all the way in Colombia. And here we are in Guatemala. And thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to do a very brief welcome, and then we're going to jump into the general elements and tips and recommendations that Sorani has for us. And at the end, we'll have a space for questions and answers. So if you have questions, please redirect them to Q&A here on the Zoom, so we can concentrate them and organize them to ask Sorani at the end. And really briefly, what is Education USA? Remember, in case you don't know, we are the official source for US higher education information, and we are present all over the world with more than 400 advising centers. So make sure that you reach out to your nearest advising center. Sometimes in different countries, there are more than one. Here in Guatemala, for example, we only have one, and we are based at Instituto Guatemalteco Americano, IGA. And make sure that you look us up on social media and that you reach out to your advisor in case you need help with your application process to US programs. All right, so without further ado, Sorani, thanks for being here. You can take it away and help us understand a little bit more about the GRE.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, number one. It is always a pleasure for me to help you guys with anything you might need with GRE, not only with GRE, but with TOEFL IBT. We're going to have our second talk next week about TOEFL IBT. So I'm here to help, okay? Now I'm going to share. Let me share, please, my screen. I can't share my screen. Okay, got it. Okay, so please keep in mind, this is an overview of the GRE, okay, exam. Today we're not gonna talk about the content of the exam. Of course, I'm gonna explain how it is structured right now. But content, that's gonna come probably later. Okay, so here we have a GRE. This is my name. As you already mentioned, thank you. I'm Sorani Marin, TOEFL IBT and GRE Director for Colombia, Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. This is my email, chicos. This is my email in case you have questions, in case you need additional information about materials, about the logistics of the exam. Sometimes many candidates have issues, for example, with the creation of the ETS account. In the past, we used to have, not sure if you remember, but in the past, we used to have two accounts, one for TOEFL IBT and one for GRE. Now we have one ETS account for both exams. So you know, like all these changes that we have, that these two exams have had in the last months, if you have any doubts, any questions, please send me an email and I'm gonna help you, okay? I'm gonna help you out. So this is my email. So today we're gonna talk about what you need to know about the exam. We're going to talk about the registration, how to register for the exam. Apparently, could be, you could say, Zorani, that's simple. I mean, we know how to register for the exam, but there are some important aspects about registration that may cause sometimes difficulties, okay, in terms of the not only registration, but like choosing dates, etc. Getting and sending scores. So I'm going to explain some aspects about scoring. And of course, we're going to talk about where to find GRE prep materials. Okay. All right. So this is the first thing that I'm sure you already know. This exam is used all around the world for master programs, MBA programs, specialized masters in business programs, doctoral programs, awarding fellowships, and the scores are valid for 5 years. Okay, that's important. Different from TOEFL IBT. Okay, TOEFL IBT 2 years, GRE 5 years. Something else that I think it is important to mention, chicos, is that the exam is in English, but it is not assessing your level of English. Okay, it is assessing 3 main skills that are analytical writing, verbal reasoning, and quantitative reasoning. So it is in English, but it is not assessing your English. Okay, so how to take and where to take the exam? You can take the exam at a test center. We have more dates for GRE, more available dates for GRE at home, okay? So if you want to take it at home, you're gonna see that pretty much you can take it like 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. In a test center, it is different where, like if you're living, let's say in Mexico City, and you know where a TOEFL site, a TOEFL center is located, for sure, that's where you're gonna be able to take GRE as well. Okay, so that's important. So if you have a TOEFL IBT site near your home, you can take GRE as well in there. What's the point? The point is that TOEFL IBT has more dates available: Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, 2 sessions per day. GRE is not administered as like with this frequency. Okay, it is different. But let's say 2, 3 people. Okay, Education USA advisees need a date to take GRE, and you want to take it in a TOEFL site, in a test center. Okay, you can talk to your advisor, you can talk to me, and we can definitely help you open like different additional dates in a test center that is close to your house. Okay, the idea is that that you don't have to go, like to travel too far to take GRE. Okay, that's important. The appointments are typically scheduled at a few days out based on seat availability. But again, for Education USA advisees, we always try to add dates in different in the centers where it is needed. Okay. The test centers that we have all around the world, they are responsible for ensuring that the conditions in which like you're gonna take the exams are going to be appropriate. So you're not gonna have any problem at a TOEFL site. You're gonna find people there, the TCAs, test center administrators, and the proctors. They are going to be there just like to help you, and also to see that like the administration of the exam is going to be 100% legal. Okay, I'm highlighting on this because home edition is different. Okay, again, of course, it is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, pretty much every day you can take it. If you want to take GRE, chicos, at 2 a.m. in the morning, you're going to be able to take GRE at 10 a.m. in the morning. Why 2 a.m. in the morning, Zorani? Because my internet connection at that time is better, because everybody's going to be sleeping at that time, so noise is going to be reduced, and because I want to take it at 2 a.m. period, right? So that's a very positive aspect about home edition. The appointments are typically available the following day. So it is, like registration for the exam, I think, is easier, but still you have to contact the university. You have to talk to the university and make sure that they accept home edition results, okay? Home edition school reports. That's important, and that's your responsibility. It's not the responsibility of Education USA or ETS, Educational Testing Service. You have to contact the university and make sure that they are going to accept home edition scores. Many universities, they don't, because, and not because of TOEFL IBT, but because of other remote, other at-home exams. You know, I mean, there have been cases in many countries where people just, they become super creative with these home edition exams. And no matter if they have, you know, like, let's say A1 level, they take at-home exams and then results are different, C1 and C2. So this is not the case of TOEFL IBT and GRE and in our home edition versions, because of the proctoring system that we have, okay? But anyway, talk to the university. You're gonna be responsible for ensuring that the room, the computer, you know, like that, everything that you have to meet GRE standards, okay? So you will need to perform system check on your computer before scheduling your test. You have to make sure that, the internet connection, that you're not gonna have a power outage like at home, like during that week. You have to make sure that any person is going to enter the room where you're taking the exam. You have to make sure that your computer, this is important, that your computer has licensed Windows, okay? That's important. So all the information is there. So I can tell you that taking home edition is super convenient. Like, I like it at all, but you have to make sure that you can meet, you know, like all the requirements that it has, okay? So that's important. Something positive about this home edition version of the exams is that you won't, like, you will never be alone. A proctor is going to be there with you. So in case, for example, your screen freezes, you can just let the person know, okay? Let the proctor know. If there's something happening, I'm clicking on next and anything happens. So what can I do? So he's gonna talk to you, okay? Or she's gonna talk to you. If your internet connection is quite, you know, like poor, okay, they are going to realize about it immediately and they are going to let you know. Okay, so in those cases where the problem is, you know, like out of your control, of course, you're going to be able to reschedule, to retake, right, to reschedule your exam at no cost. Okay, so in case of, you know, like a blackout or internet connection, etc. In those cases where, for example, I'm taking the exam here and my mom forgot something in the room where I'm taking the exam, and she's recorded, you know, like walking behind me, your exam is going to be interrupted and you're going to have to pay for the exam, okay, again. So you don't want it to happen. So that's why I'm inviting you, like, if you're going to take home edition, please take into account, like, there are some requirements. So go to our website and check all those requirements. If you want to invite me, you know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in Zoom, and Sorani, let's go over together, you and I, okay, together, let's go over all the conditions and let's make sure I can help you, okay? I can definitely help you. Okay. And so you have to make the decision, okay? You have to make the decision, okay? So can I take it? Can I take it at home? Should I take it at a test center? Okay, where everything is, you know, if you take it at a test center, the responsibility is going to be on the test center. So probably you're gonna say, well, that's easier for me, okay? Home edition or taking GRE at a TOEFL site, that's the same. The exam is the same, okay? So you're gonna be able to answer the questions in any order, right? Within the same section, of course. So the content is going to be the same, the length of the exam is going to be the same, the cost of the exam is going to be the same, the scoring system, that's going to be the same. The only difference is that, that you're going to be taking it at home and then at a test center, okay? The GRE has, like all these features that make it, like a super friendly exam. You can tag questions, so you can skip some of them and return later, okay? And you're gonna see there the option to mark those questions in case you get to the last part of the section and then you forget. No, you can go to review and you're gonna see that you marked 2 questions and you can go back and work on them, okay? So this is one of the characteristics of this exam. You can review and change answers within a section. So if you're working on the next section, of course, you're not gonna be able to come back. You can use in the quantitative reasoning section, you're gonna be able to use a calculator, a simple one, but it's super, super useful, chicos, super, super useful. You have the option, of course, to send only your best scores. Like if you have 3 exams in there, you're going to be able to choose, okay, I don't want to send this one, but I'm going to send the previous one, okay? So those are your score reports, so you can do whatever you want to do with those reports. And the scores are good for 5 years. This is super good news, chicos, and it is that the exam now is shorter. That was September 2023. The exam last year, the exam was longer. It was a 4-hour exam, like 3 hours and 45 minutes, I think. But September 2023, it changed. Now it's a super short exam, and I'm super glad about it because this is beneficial for you guys. So, and the order of the sections also changed. Last year, the first part of the exam was the verbal reasoning section. Then the second part was quantitative reasoning. And then the last section of the exam was the analytical writing section of the exam. So now we're starting with analytical writing, and then you're going to have verbal reasoning or probably quantitative reasoning, okay? So that's going to be chosen randomly. So for analytical writing, chicos, this is also good news. Last year, you had to work on 2 different tasks. Let me see if I remember. Analyze an argument and analyze an issue. Okay. Now you're going to be working just on one, analyze an argument, just one. So you're going to have 30 minutes to work on it. Then verbal reasoning, they reduced the number of questions, 12 questions for section 1 and for section 2, 15. And then for the quantitative reasoning, section 1, 12 and section 2, 15. So here we have 1 hour and 58 minutes. Isn't it great? Okay. The verbal and quantitative reasoning sections are computer adaptive, okay? Meaning that the computer selects the second section of the measure based on your performance on the first section, okay? So this is another important characteristics of the exam. Within each section, all questions contribute equally to your final score. I can share with you the update, the updated scoring, GRE scoring bulletin, okay, where you're gonna be able to clearly like understand how the universities choose your scores. Okay? Because that would be, chicas, that would be a, like a 3-hour presentation. Okay, so I think with the bulletin, chicos, you're gonna be able to understand how the universities are going to choose you, what, because this is a very common question. So, Rani, what is a good GRE score? It depends on the university. It always depends on the university. But I'm sure you're going to find that information super clear in that GRE scoring bulletin. So here we have the sections of the exam. We have analytical writing from 0 to 6 in half-point increments. Verbal reasoning, 130 to 170. Same thing for quantitative reasoning. Okay, so here we have the 3 sections of the exam. Okay, this is the question. What is a good GRE score to aim for? So you have number one to go over the GRE scoring bulletin that I'm going to be sharing with you at the end of this session. Remember, it always, it depends on the universities. It depends on the goals you have. Remember, what it is a good score, a bad score, I'm sorry, for one university, probably for another university is a good score. So all universities, they are independent on like structuring their scoring policies. Like, this is what I need. Here I have the requirements for GRE, for IBTs. All the universities are different. So please do not focus on just, like one institution, like one university. Okay, think about the fact that TOEFL IBT is accepted by 13,000 universities, pretty much all the universities around the world. And GRE has a very interesting number as well of universities that accept scores, okay? Okay, there are many tips and strategies for doing well on this exam. I think one of the best strategies, chicos, is to prepare, okay? You have to become super familiar with the types of questions, number one, and with time management. Because sometimes, for example, you can be good at math, you can be good at algebra, but the fact that you're good at algebra, it doesn't mean that you're fast on, like when working on those exercises, okay? So on those operations, so that's important. So to practice not only, like with the types of questions, not only to go over math information, but to time yourselves, okay? That's extremely important. In our website, we have a lot of resources, okay? For example, the Power Prep. The Power Prep test is a great tool because it is shorter GRE exam, okay? It is a, practice exam. And by using the Power Prep, you're going to be able, number one, to familiarize with the types of questions, with the time that the exam manages. So that's important. Okay, time management for me is super definite. This tool is, it doesn't have any cost. So you just need to open your ETS account. Remember that ETS account is going to be, is going to serve both exams, okay? GRE and TOEFL IBT. So once you open your ETS account, you're gonna see that all like these resources are going to be available for you. Important, it says here in number 3, read each question and all and answer, like all the choices. So do not, like, please answer all of them. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't have the time to do it. I mean, do it just, like randomly. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I like number 3. This is the one. But please work on every single question. All right. All of us, we have different strategies, okay, to figure out answers, okay? So in the case of the quantitative reasoning, for example, we all have different, like many of these mathematical operations. Sometimes many of them, they have different ways to get to the final result, okay? So please practice. The Khan Academy webpage, I think that's super useful. That's very useful. So please visit Khan Academy and review. I mean, the mathematics that we have here in GRE, we don't have advanced math, okay? It's intermediate, it's high school math. So we have algebra, we have statistics, we have algebra, statistics, arithmetic, right? Arithmetic. So it is basic. It is high school math. So it is not really complicated. I took the exam already 3 years ago, and I'm a professor of languages, right? Linguistics mainly, I'm not really good at numbers, okay? And I have to say that I used all the, number one, the materials that the GRE website provides, and also the official guide. I like it a lot, okay, the official guide. But I also prepared with Khan Academy, and it helped me a lot, especially for this section, the quantitative reasoning section, okay? Do not waste time on questions you find extremely difficult. Remember, you can skip questions within the same section and then go back and work on them again. And if you can't definitely find the answer, well, just choose one, okay? Here, let me see if yes, this is the screen. Check the review screen before finishing a section to ensure you have answered all the questions and answer all of them. Look at this. You have the calculator is here. You can mark, like if this question is too difficult, you can mark it. So you say, I'm gonna come back in a minute to work on this one. And then when, like if you finish working on this section and you're gonna jump to the next section, yes, the exam is going to let you know that there's something that you have to do. Yes, it is not going to tell you, hey, question number 4, you didn't work on it. Probably not, but it is going to tell you, please review. It is friendly. Please review that you answered all your questions. So you can click on review, okay? And it is going to take you exactly to the question that you marked, okay? So the idea is that you work on all of them. This bottom help is going to kind of paraphrase sometimes the questions, like in case you don't know like what to do, what do I have to do here, etc. Chicos, please read instructions. Some of the questions here in GRE, they, all of it is, all the exam is a multiple choice exam, right? Like in the verbal reasoning section is multiple choice, right? And some of the questions here in the quantitative reasoning section. So some of these multiple choice questions demand, not just one option, but 2 or 3 options for you to choose, okay? So please read the instructions. That's super important. Back, next, here you have the timer. If it is stressing you out, just hide it, okay? But this is just one example. This is the same calculator that you're gonna find in the official exam. Now about the preparation resources, this is super important. Please, if you need to submit your GRE scores, let's say we're now in July, let's say in September, okay, you should be taking the exam now, okay? Why, Sorani? Because you don't know what your score is going to be. So if you need to take it again, you're gonna have the time, okay, to do it. Sorani, but I'm gonna take it again, and that's twice, and that's a lot of money, and etc., etc. No, don't think about it, okay? Your dream, your academic dream is bigger than the cost of an exam, okay? And I'm telling you this because I'm a professor of English. I have already taken not GRE for academic purposes, but TOEFL IBT, right? So if I had, I mean, I didn't have to do it, but if I had to take it twice, 3 times, I would have done it, chicos. I would have done it because my my dream, my master, my doctorate, etc., is bigger, okay, than the cost of the exam. Practice with the power prep, that's extremely important, okay? Please practice with our materials. You know that not only in, I think that's everywhere, Colombia, Mexico, Guatemala, etc. You can find TOEFL preparation courses everywhere, but not GRE preparation courses. Because you could be thinking, you could be saying, Zorani, yes, I know I'm gonna create my ETS account. I'm gonna access, like all those materials for free that you're mentioning. But some of us, I don't know if that's your case, some of us, we prefer to have a teacher, a facilitator, a professor in front of us, like reviewing with us our answers, explaining a little bit more like why this is not correct, giving us feedback, right? So it is super difficult. It is difficult to find a GRE prep course but there are some, okay? Not many, but there are some. So if you need information about it, about more like a more personalized GRE preparation course, please contact me and I can help you, okay? I'm gonna be able to help you find something. You have to, again, develop your study plan. I think when you take the power prep, you're gonna clearly identify what your weaknesses are, okay? Like if I took it right now, chicos, I'm gonna know that probably my weakness is gonna be right there on the quantitative reasoning section, okay? And I'm being super honest, okay? So I'm gonna, yeah, because I'm pretty good at writing. I'm pretty good at verbal reasoning, you know, vocabulary and that stuff. But probably quantitative reasoning, I'm gonna have to go over all those very simple formulas from high school that I don't use every day. And of course, I need to remember for the exam. Okay, so identify your weaknesses and focus on those weaknesses. Determine like the type of materials that you're gonna use because you're gonna find many. The power prep, that's a must. Okay, and some of you could say, Zorani, the GRE official guide, that's the one I like because I can take notes in there, because I can really know like the types of passages that they are going to use. For example, for the analytical writing test, even for the verbal reasoning section, I can familiarize a little bit more with, you know, like the vocabulary, right? That they use in the GRE, etc. So it is super important to use our materials, chicos, and I'm not inviting you to use our materials because I want you to, you know, to purchase those materials. Again, most of them are for free, but I'm inviting you to use our materials because there in our materials, you're gonna find the real questions, the same questions that you're gonna find in the official exam. Listo? So that has to be clear. And also I'm telling you this because I have been a TOEFL IBT, and sometimes I have prepared people for students for GRE, and they come and say, Sorani, I'm using this book, and then I take a look at it and I say, well, I have taken GRE twice in my life, and definitely this is not a question that you're gonna find in that exam. So you see, that's why it is important to use our materials. And I think before, let's say 2-3 days before your GRE, take again another practice test. Where can you find those practice tests for free? When you create your account and you register for the exam, you're gonna see that you're gonna receive practice tests for free. So take all of them, because remember, the idea is to get 6 in analytical writing, 170 in verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning, okay? The highest scores. Okay, so also when you create your ETS account, you're gonna find there our official GRE mentor course. This is super beautiful. It does have a cost, okay? Our official guide, personally, I love it, but this is based on my type of learning. I like books or ebooks, right? I like to, you know, to have some type of control on what I'm doing. So I really like the official guide. Here we have the power prep. And the Score It Now, that is a great tool to practice for your analytical writing section of the exam. So as you can see, all these materials are easily adapted to your type of learning. So I'm saying that, for example, I like the official guide. I think the official GRE mentor course is really, really interesting. But in my case, I prefer the official guide to the GRE general test. This is just like what you can do with the GRE mentor. So you can set personalized goals, right? Take detailed notes during lesson plans and practice tests. You can track your progress. So if you stop using the GRE mentor, of course, the GRE mentor is going to remind you, hey, you haven't done anything in here. So last week you were doing great. This week, and gain a better understanding of your strengths and weaknesses, okay? It is online, it is self-paced, okay? So you can just, work on it at your convenience. It has many questions, many GRE questions for you to practice. Lessons, quizzes. There's an additional power prep, okay? The power prep, the one that is for free that you can find when you create your ETS account, muchachos. That's, you know, like a simple one is super useful, and that's the one I always take. But with the GRE Mentor, if you decide, you know, like to purchase this GRE Mentor, you're gonna find something that is called Power Prep Plus. So you have a practice test, and then you have a full GRE exam, and it is timed, okay? And it is timed. Okay, registration. Okay, so you're gonna see that when you create your account, if you're interested in purchasing these materials, you're gonna receive additional discounts. Okay. Muy bien. So what to bring on test day? Nothing, just your official ID. That's all you need. It has to be valid. Please bring the ID that you used to register for the exam. If you used the passport, okay, bring on the day of the administration the passport. So Rani, how does it work if we're taking it home edition? If you're taking it home edition, the proctor is going to ask you to show him or her the passport, put it in front of the camera, and he's gonna just take a picture of it, etc. Okay. So if you don't bring your ID, chicos, you're not gonna be able to test. You're gonna have to pay for the exam, okay? That's important. You don't have to take, you know, to bring anything else. So Rani, if I have my cell phone here, and most of the centers, they have lockers. So they are going to put all your personal stuff in there. Okay. If you're gonna take the exam at home, please be ready to have a mirror. In the website, and even here in the presentation, they say a mirror or a cell phone. I highly recommend you not to have your cell phone when you're taking TOEFL, IBT, or GRE. They say cell phone because you can use your front camera just to show the proctor, you know, like the space where you're gonna be taking the exam, the computer, the desk, etc. No, put that away, okay? Use a mirror. Okay, a mirror is different. The cell phone is going to be out of the place where you're going to be taking the exam. Please, please, please. You know, I have received, I'm not going to tell you how many complaints, you know, they are complaints, but those are just mistakes candidates make. They use their cell phone, they leave it there, they forget to mute it, or they forget, I mean, and then they are working on the exam, they look at the cell phone unconsciously, and that's considered suspicious. Remember, all these exams, they work with AI, and that is called eye tracking, I think. Eye tracking. So if you look at, you know, like somewhere else while taking the exam, that's considered suspicious, and they are going to interrupt the exam. So that's why I always recommend to use just a mirror, okay? Just disconnect for 2 hours. It's just 2 hours, no cell phone, okay? You also need a whiteboard with erasable marker, okay? Or a blank piece of paper inside a transparent sheet protector with an erasable marker, okay? One of those 2 tools to take notes. Listo. So those are the things that you need to have ready if you want to take GRE. Many, chicos, many, muchos, too many, in French, beaucoup, candidates, they don't go over the instructions, the requirements to take GRE at home. And then at the moment of the exam, the first question of the proctor is, well, after asking for the ID, okay, do you have your whiteboard and the erasable marker? And they are like, oh, no, I don't have any of those, right? The exam is going to be interrupted. And just because of this, the candidate is not going to be able to take the exam, okay? So please be ready. Don't want you to make these mistakes. Please, please, please. If you're gonna take the exam at the center, the staff, they are going to take a picture of you. They are going to collect a handwriting sample. We're not going to have any break right now because the exam now is super short. They are going to just, okay, and upon returning from any breaks, you maybe, no. At the beginning, during the check-in, they are going to ask you for the document. They're going to take a picture of you, and then you're going to be sent to the workstation, okay? You're going to be provided with writing utensil, like 3 colorful sheets of paper and scratch paper and a pen. Okay, that's a pen or a pencil. I think it is a pencil. I don't remember, pen or pencil. You're gonna have there the test center administrator and proctors. They are going to be there, not only for surveillance, but in case you need something. Okay. If you have any difficulty while taking the exam, chicos, just raise your hand. Okay. Do not start, like yelling or, calling the proctor out loud because you're going to interrupt the others. So just raise your hand and they are going to help you. What else? Okay, no breaks. So if you're going to be testing at home, remember, please, to check all the requirements, okay? Close all browsers and applications that you're not going to need for the test. Make sure that you don't have anything that pops up, like automatically. Make sure that you choose a time where your internet connection is, is really, really good. That's important. Make sure that your dog and your cat and your brother is not going to, any of those of the people that live with you are going to be, like interrupting you. That's important. So let them know that you're going to be super busy for 2 hours. Okay. Be punctual. They are going to wait for you just, 12 minutes and that's all. Show your ID, show your computer screen with a mirror. Forget about the cell phone. And the entire session is going to be recorded. Okay, that's important. And make sure, because here we're using AI, that you can always be seen on camera by the proctor. Avoid doing anything that may look suspicious, like talking out loud or looking away from the screen. The example I just gave you, that's why I hate guys to, like to have the cell phone while working on these exams, these home edition exams. Now that's a huge mistake. That's too risky. Okay, what else? If you experience like technical issues, remember that you're gonna have the proctor right there giving you support. There is a phone number in case there's a like a blackout. Just call the people and let them know that something happened, but they are going to realize. So just send me an email, Sorani, this is what happened. Here you have, take screenshots. That's important. Okay, Sorani, this is what happened. Look at the screenshot. This is the conversation I had with the proctor. Please help me reschedule my exam, okay? And that's gonna be faster because you have me, okay? At the end of the session, you will be asked to erase any notes in view of the proctor, and the proctor is going to ask you to show him or her the whiteboard, okay? Also, at the end of the session, you're going to be able to see the results. You're going to have access to the results for verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning. So this is great because you're going to have an idea on, like how your performance was. Okay, of course, not for analytical writing. The reason is because human scorers, real, scorers are going to be working on the revision of your writing for a couple of days. That's why your scores are going to be ready between, for GRE, between 8 to 15 days. Let me clarify this later, okay? You will also, before, like while taking the exam, at the end of the exam, you're going to be able to send your scores to at least 4, okay, to 4 score recipients, and that's for free if you do it right there. if you make the decision of, okay, no, I'm on a way to see what the final score was. So then, I'm gonna choose 2, 3, 4, 5 institutions to share my scores with. Okay, that's okay. You can do it, like either way. But if you do it after, working on the exam, after finishing, clicking on, like finish, that's gonna have a cost. Okay, you're gonna have to pay for those scores. If you do it before, like while working on the exam and before clicking on finish, you're gonna be able to send, like to choose 4 institutions for free. And there you have the bottom, add a score recipient. Then you're gonna choose the country, you're gonna choose the state. Then you're gonna find there the institution. Super important to be in contact with the institution, because most of our of the institutions, they have something that is called DI code. Okay, that DI code is the code where you're gonna be sending your scores. But I'm gonna give you an example. Universities are huge. They have many, many departments. So the university can have one DI code for the admissions office, right? But then another DI code for the languages, humanities department, right? So this is how this is why you have to contact the institution and ask them, okay, what is your DI code, so I can directly ask ETS to send you my scores. Okay, that's important. Keep in mind that many universities, they do not accept the PDF that you can print, the PDF that you're gonna get when you receive your scores for TOEFL, IBT, and for GRE. They don't accept it. They just accept scores that I sent directly from ETS. So keep that in mind. This is why you have to be in constant communication with the university. Okay? 7 to 10 days. I was not sure about this part because, again, the exam has had a couple of changes. Before, you will receive the scores like in 10 to 15 days, something like that. But now it's 7 to 10 days. That's when you're going to receive your scores. This is something that I really like. So you finish working on the exam, and then I think it is 15 days after you've taken the exam, you're gonna have something in your ETS account, in your GRE account, that is called the GRE Diagnostic Service. This is super beautiful, chicos, because you can say, okay, this is not the score I need, but still I need to know what I did wrong. Okay. So this is why the diagnostic service is super interesting. So here you have, this is like a scan of what you did on the day of the exam. So here, this is an example, verbal reasoning. So first section is 7 questions for the reading comprehension section of the verbal reasoning. So the first one was multiple choice, select one answer. My answer was correct, look, right. And then the level of difficulty was 1. And then this is the time I spent working on this. This is too much. 1 minute 13, too much. Then question number 2, multiple choice, select one. It was incorrect. So it is incorrect, and then you say, okay, it is incorrect, but what was the question? You click on description and sample questions, and they are going to give you the list of wrong answers. See? Entonces es súper interesante. I really like this, because this is like when you have to take GRE again, this is another way for you guys to prepare a little bit better for the next time you're going to take the exam. And this is the same for, the quantitative reasoning. And of course, for analytical writing, they are going to give you feedback. Listo. Chicos, that's all the information I wanted to share with you. Perfect timing. Again, you have my email. I can share it with you again if you want me to. Here I have my QRs for my Instagram and my TikTok accounts. So if you need to contact me, there's information in Instagram and TikTok that could be useful for you guys. But if you prefer to contact me, feel free to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sorani, for all that information. That was really useful. And we do have some questions for you. So why don't we get going on that? Could you remind us a little bit about how many times can we take the test at the most, and how long is the score available for?
Okay. How many times you can take GRE, like per year?
Yes.
5 times. Yes, 5 times per year you can take the exam every, like 21 days. And you're going to receive your GRE scores in, like between 7 to 10 business days. You're going to have your scores ready.
Okay. And how long is the score valid for? How long can we use that score for?
5 years. 5 beautiful years. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. And somebody asked us, you mentioned that we can ask for new dates if we are Education USA advisee, in case we don't find available dates to take the GRE. How can I verify that I am an Education USA advisee?
That's something, chicos, that's an excellent question. And that's something that we do. And I have helped a lot of you guys, Education USA advisors. That's something that's a request that comes directly from Education USA advisors. So if Maria Luisa, if Mariana, if any Education USA advisor tells me, Zorani, I need you to please open a date in, I don't know, in Guatemala, in this specific place, right? I'm gonna do it. So it is not that you guys contact me, right? And I can open dates for you, but this is something that comes directly from the Education USA office.
Right. And on that end, I think what we need to understand is that as advisees, we know your name, right? We know your case, we know what's going on, and it'll be really easy, so to speak, to help you out. But for that, you have to have built a relationship with your advisor throughout time. And so that is why it's important to find support and resources and help from your Education USA Advising Center in your country. Majo, do you want to ask any other question?
No, I just wanted to remind that if anyone has any other question, you are still on time to put it on the chat so we can ask Sorani. But by now, I don't have any other question on the chat.
Okay, thanks. Sorani, I do have a question about the scoring. Is there some sort of percentile grading? Like, do they use a curve? Do they, is my score going to be compared or, compared to someone else's score to give me a curve of some sort? Could you explain that a little bit?
Yes, that's what I was talking when when I mentioned this GRE scoring bulletin, the new one. It has, like there is a chart in there where it is going to be easier for you to understand. But as you just mentioned, it does have a certain like curve, like a percentile. So what I can tell you now, and this is something that only universities use, right? So what I can tell you now is that remember that for the analytical writing, this score goes from 0 to 6, okay? So 4.5, that could be a good score, okay? 4.5. Then for verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning, remember it goes from 130 to 170. So after 160, that could be a pretty good score, okay? But that's something that definitely I would like. I don't know if you ladies, if you have the updated, the last one, the GRE scoring bulletin. Did I share it with you? So what if I can share it with you? So you take a look at it and you share it with the participants. Is that okay?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And what I would like to emphasize on this is that there is no, when you take a test for a class, there is like a winning score and like I lost the class score sort of thing. You have to remember that when we're talking about tests for an element of your application, it's not going to be the end of it all if you don't do great on a test like the GRE. However, it is going to be potentially a strengthening element if your score is pretty competitive, you know, and looks shiny and bright. But don't feel bad if you don't do well, right? It's not the end of the world, and there's always other chances. But on that note, and we did have a question, because there is a cost to the test, right? Are there any financial aid options to cover the cost of the test for general students interested in applying to grad schools around the world?
I can't. Could you repeat your question? I didn't hear
Are
it well.
there any financial aid options to cover for the cost of taking the GRE test?
No, unfortunately, we don't have any. What we have done, and not sure if you have received this information, what we sometimes do, depending on, you know, like on the dates probably, is that they launch this marketing, you know, like strategies with sales on the cost of the exam. So that's all they do, unfortunately.
Okay. Hey, that's interesting to keep an eye out for that.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to highlight some of the things you said as a kind of like a wrap up as we finish our session. Remember that there are no penalties for wrong answers. So always guess, even if you're not sure, don't leave any answers unmarked. And then emphasizing the importance of prepping. So prep for the test. Take advantage of the free ETS GRE resources. We try to share a lot of the links over there so that they're a reference point for you. Familiarizing yourself with the test is not only valuable to know what kinds of questions there are, it's valuable for your time management. So maybe you are really, it's easy for you to speak English and to understand it and to analyze it. And even maybe statistics and math is easy for you. But when you have a minute or a minute and some seconds to answer a question, that's when you need to develop your technique. So remember to prep, and then always review the things that you have to bring for the test center or for the at-home version. Okay. And so on that note, yes, Majo?
I have a quick last question that just came in the chat. I'm sorry. And the question is, does the GRE test cost vary between countries, or is always the same? And how much is it?
It's always the same. Yeah, the GRE cost is always the same. It was updated. It was updated last March. I think it is 220. I think it is 220. But I'm checking here.
And if you fail the test the first time, you have to pay again, right?
The full cost.
Yes, you have to pay the full cost. That's correct.
Okay. So as a reminder to all of our students and participants today, we are recording this session and it'll be sent to you as a reference, and it also will be available on YouTube. So you have this as a resource for the future when you are, when you take the test. We do have a session next week on TOEFL IBT with Sorani, who's going to share all of this content. If you are here in Guatemala, we invite you to join us here at the Walt Whitman American Center to watch the session with us. And if you are around the world, of course, please join us on Zoom. And thank you so much, Sorani, for your time and your expertise. And let us know if you have more questions. And remember to reach out to your advising center, to your Education USA Advising Center. And see you soon. Bye-bye.
Yes. Oh.